The scream echoed through the village that night. It was a sound none of us could forget, piercing the air like a blade. It came from the chief's compound, and everyone knew it had to be Ayanda. I'm Sibo, the chief's nephew, and I saw it all. I wish I hadn't, but there's no undoing the things I've seen. Ayanda was the most beautiful woman in our village, a goddess among mortals. Her skin glowed like the first light of dawn, her smile could stop hearts, and her eyes were filled with so much love you'd think they could soften even the hardest soul. But love, as I learned, doesn't always save you. Sometimes, it's a trap. Ayanda wasn't born into the chief's family, she was adopted when she was just a child. No one really knew where she came from, but the chief's wife loved her like her own daughter. By the time Ayanda turned 22, she was the pride of the village. Everyone wanted her, but her fate was sealed when the chief announced she was to marry Kelechi. Kelechi was a billionaire. He was young, powerful, and ruthless. His family owned half the country's oil fields, and his name sent shivers through the air. People whispered about his cruelty, how he destroyed his enemies without blinking, but no one dared say a word against him openly. When he came to our village to discuss trade with the chief, he saw Ayanda and decided she would be his bride. At first, Ayanda was ecstatic. She had dreamed of a love story, of a husband who would sweep her off her feet and take her to a life of unimaginable luxury. She believed in Kelechi like he was the sun, and she was a sunflower, turning her whole world toward him. But Kelechi didn't love her. He loved control. And Ayanda's love for him became his favorite weapon. The wedding was grand, unlike anything we'd ever seen. Gold-threaded ropes, rare flowers flown in from other continents, and food that could feed the village for months. But behind the glamour, something felt wrong. Kelechi barely looked at Ayanda during the ceremony. She, on the other hand, looked at him like he was the answer to every question she'd ever asked. Not long after they married, we started noticing the bruises, small ones at first, ones she tried to hide under long sleeves and scarves. She stopped coming to village gatherings, stopped smiling the way she used to. When I asked her once if she was okay, she just laughed, but her eyes told another story. You wouldn't understand, Sibo, she said softly. He's everything to me. I need to try harder. But the harder she tried, the more he broke her. He would insult her in front of his friends, calling her stupid and weak. He isolated her from everyone she loved, controlling her every move. And the worst part, she let him. She believed it was her fault, that if she just loved him more, he would change. The night of the scream was the night Ayanda finally broke. Kelechi had come to the chief's compound to negotiate a deal, and Ayanda had followed him, desperate to make things right between them. I was outside, pretending not to listen, but their voices carried through the thin walls. You're pathetic, Kelechi spat. Do you think your love means anything to me? You're just a pawn, Ayanda. A pretty face to make me look good. There was silence, and then the sound of something breaking, maybe a vase, maybe her heart. When the scream came, it wasn't just pain, it was the sound of someone realizing the person they'd given their soul to didn't deserve it. The next morning, Ayanda was gone. No one knows where she went. Some say she ran into the forest and disappeared, others claim she found a way to start over in another country. Kelechi didn't even look for her. He moved on as if she'd never existed, but the village didn't forget. I tell this story not to scare you, but to remind you, love is powerful, but it's not enough to save someone who doesn't want to be saved. And sometimes, the scariest monsters aren't the ones in the dark, they're the ones we love the most. The village spoke in hushed tones about Ayanda for months. The chief's wife was heartbroken, but she never blamed Ayanda. She was too good for this place, she would whisper, staring at the horizon as if waiting for Ayanda to return. But she never did. As for Kelechi, his empire started to crumble not long after Ayanda's disappearance. His deals fell through, his partners betrayed him, and his wealth began to slip away like water through his fingers. Some said it was karma, others whispered that Ayanda had cursed him. There were rumors, stories of a woman fitting Ayanda's description seen in distant towns, always with an aura of mystery around her, always moving before anyone could get close. One day, about a year after she left, something strange happened. I was walking through the forest at dusk when I found a small clearing I had never noticed before. At its center was a single baobab tree, ancient and massive, its branches stretching like arms reaching for the sky. Beneath the tree, there was a carving on a flat stone. It was Ayanda's name, but it wasn't a memorial, it was a message. The words were simple, but they sent chills down my spine. Love didn't kill me. Silence almost did. Speak for those who cannot. I stood there, staring at the stone, my heart pounding. It felt like Ayanda had left it there for me to find, like she was reminding us not to let her story fade away. After that, I couldn't stay silent anymore. I started telling her story to anyone who would listen, warning people about the dangers of blind love and unchecked power. The villagers listened, and over time, Ayanda's story became a cautionary tale, a reminder that love should never come at the cost of your soul. As for Kelechi, his downfall was complete. He lost everything, his wealth, his reputation, and the power he had once wielded so ruthlessly. The last I heard, he was living in isolation, a shadow of the man he used to be. But Ayanda, she became a legend. Some say she found happiness far from here, living a life free from the chains that once bound her. Others believe she watches over the village, her spirit protecting those who cannot protect themselves. And me. I still visit the clearing sometimes, standing beneath the baobab tree, tracing her name on the stone. I tell her story because it matters, because she mattered. Ayanda's love might have been her greatest gift, but her strength in living was her greatest legacy. And so, our story lives on, a beacon for anyone who feels trapped by love that doesn't love them back. Ayanda taught us that real love doesn't hurt. It doesn't silence you.